I bought Bernadette Kim, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza for her birthday. And she got so enthusiastic about it, she bought his whole course and she teaches it. She's teaching me what I introduced her to, which is cool, which is way cool. She's changed. That's so phenomenal. And then she got me thinking of some things, right? I had this idea in my head forever about how I changed and started winning fights with Roy Jones because he forbid me to read the horoscope. Now I'm an Aries, and Aries are known to be aggressive, and I was aggressive. You know, I didn't take a step backwards. I always made sure I was in better shape than everybody that I went up against, and they were going to get tired before I got tired, then I'd have my way with them. But I took a lot of punches in the process. And he saw me reading the paper and he said, "That's your problem." I'm like, "What? I don't believe this stuff. I just think it's interesting." He said, "You don't get it, do you? The guy that writes that, he doesn't know you from Adam. He just put some general baloney in there and you pick out what you want, which isn't what I'm teaching you." So shortly after, and I started winning fights. But today, after Bernadette, I started like putting things together differently. I lost 10 of my first 12 fights. And Roy, I got my first, Wendell Charleston. I fought him the first time in the Alabama Golden Gloves, and he dropped me with the first punch he hit me with, and they stopped the fight. And then about, like 2 fights later, I fought Kelsey Banks, and I ran into his left hand, and it didn't hurt, but while I was trying to figure out what was going on, he was swarming me, and the referee stopped the fight. But then I had a sparring partner named Ricky Rogers, and we actually fought at another gym before we both came over to Roy Jones' gym, and I remember hitting him hard to the body and him telling one of the coaches that I hit, he didn't like how hard I was hitting him to the body. So I loved sparring with Ricky. Right? And then Ricky had a rivalry with Willie Richardson, and he was the top bantamweight in Alabama, and they would battle, and I wasn't worried about Willie, and Willie moved up to my weight class, and we fought in a tournament, and I gave it to him. I threw everything but the kitchen sink at him, man. He had a cut across his nose. He was a comer, and I made him run away from me, right? And then he fought Wendell and made a fight of it. And then Ricky fought Wendell and made a fight of it. So the next time I fought Wendell, I wasn't worried about him. I got real good at cutting the ring off because I was sparring with Roy Jones Jr. And if I wanted you in the corner, you were going to be in the corner. I had him in the same corner the whole fight, working him over. And then I fought in this other tournament, and it was usually a featherweight division is packed. You got to fight like 3 or 4 times in a tournament, and it was just me and this one other guy. And I was thinking, they're ducking me. Everybody else moved up or down, and I think they were worried about me. And Roy Jones Sr. comes up and goes, "Okay, I don't know much about this guy you're fighting. He's left-handed. He's a good boxer, but he can't bust a grape." I'm thinking, if he can't bust a grape, he can't hurt me. And we got in the ring, and he hit me with a straight left hand right hook, about took my head off. I thought, that could have been hard. Roy Sr. said he couldn't bust a grape. And I look at him, and he was smiling. I'm thinking, boy, we ain't playing. And I went to hit him as hard as I could with a left hook to the body. I was trying to break his back. And I threw a straight right hand to put 2 punches together and dropped him. All right. And then after the fight, Roy's like, "You know who that was?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "That was Jerome Spotsville." I'm like, "So?" I guess he was ranked like number 7 as a lightweight in the country. And he ended up going to limit trials at 139 in 1984. And he kept wanting to fight me, but he wouldn't come back down to 125 to fight me. And so I'm thinking about, in sales, what was it? And I was a debt management consultant. So I read every book you can get your hands on personal finance and debt management for my own personal situation. I didn't have enough. I learned all these principles and strategies. I didn't have enough money to make them work, but I understood them all, and I answered an ad in the paper as a debt management consultant. And it was a group interview, and the guy making the presentation, he made an offer, for every signed loan application with income documentation and a check for an appraisal that I brought in, he'd give me a $50 bonus. Well, I needed $600 to pay rent. And I'm thinking, where am I going to find 12 people? Well, I had all these leads when I worked for LJ Hausner Construction, selling room additions, sunrooms, guard rooms, pattern rooms, like 300 of them. So I went through all of them. I turned in 12 applications that first month, got my rent paid for, and then 10 of those loans funded. I made like $7,500 that first month. I didn't know people could make that kind of money. And that caused, got me a little confidence. They made me the manager. Every time I showed somebody how to get out of debt, they started looking at buying a house. So I got my real estate license, started doing mortgages, and I would always talk to people in word pictures. I had a story. My dad, I tell them, they'd always complain about the interest. I'm like, oh yeah, I know. My dad was a farmer. He was so tight that he squeaked. And they laughed. That told me they're visual. And I'd say, they're picturing a little old guy wearing bib overalls and holding a fistful of dollars with a white knuckle grip, and that was a good description of my dad. And I'd say he taught me a lot about leveraging money. He said, you got to think of yourself as being in the egg business, and your money's your chickens. You don't want to eat your chickens. And he'd say, if you want to buy a piece of equipment like a tractor or a combine, it's smarter. We're going to say we'll buy that piece of equipment in cash, or with inflation, just keep it this far out of his reach. If that was the case, he'd finance that piece of equipment, put it to work to make more money to pay the loan off faster. And they would get it. And then I'd say, look, I'd just get them to sign, fill in the application, and then that would be their fallback. They could do whatever else they wanted to do, and they just had time to compare. And I was, that was it. That was my stick, right? And then I got in the real estate business, or the mortgage business, and that same, little talk would work. Okay, there's a tax deduction, more of a tax deduction with the mortgage real estate loans, and but the that whole process. The first guy I ever closed doing the debt management was this attorney. He was like 6'6". He was very obnoxious. We were totally politically, diametrically opposed. All right, and I'm in front of his house, and it got to the point where he was being kind of insulting, and I didn't care if he wanted to fight or not. And I basically just told him, looked him right in the eye, and said, "Listen, I know what you're asking for, but I can't give you your answers unless you give me the information I need." Next thing I know, he comes out and hands me 2 years tax returns, all of his bank statements and his credit card statements, and gave me a check for an appraisal. And after that, anybody who was less than that, I wasn't scared of, right? And that's what got me going. And so looking back on it, these we all put our pants on the same way, right? And I ain't afraid of nobody. I've had my butt kicked, and if somebody can do that, great. But usually they don't take it that far. Usually, they're like, okay, he's serious, right? And then they start, paying attention because I'm trying to help people. Anyway, very interesting. I found out a lot of times just being patient and keeping a good attitude, not getting upset, they eventually will, give you some grace, and they trust me. They got to find out they trust me, and I've never seen anything like it here in the Rio Grande Valley. The lack of trust, it's intense. It's very intense here in the valley. People got to really trust you, and it takes a long time to build that trust. All right, have a good one.